Hello, this is the Gulli build in public for uh, May 29th, 2021. This will be me kind of talking to Vicky about my suggested changes to the data that we have and some other ideas. But we appreciate anyone paying attention. Let us know if you have any feedback as well. So we're still working on the uh, COVID vaccine. Right now we're at 77% that you should take the COVID vaccine. Um, I've already turned on some additional data that you normally wouldn't see, so the score description is usually off and it starts off closed. But you can see the score here. It's 3 at 28, 1 at 0, 1 at -7. The first thing I notice is that there's a chance you could experience a significant side effect from the COVID-19 vaccine. That should probably be greater than 0. And then my opinion is that this -7 is pretty large. So first of all, to go into there, I think what we need to do is just add a claim in here that has let's make it editable. A claim in here that says that the chance is really low, which is something I think we did on the other one, which would drop this 7, cut it in half to 3 or 4. And I think that would be fair. Because the percentages right now, and maybe we could link to something that says the number of people that are getting it. Well, no, we can't do that. I'm sorry. This is about the variants. Maybe we could just say the number of variants that have cropped up since we've been using the vaccine, or the number of variants that normally come up, or just make it a generic assumption so that they know that Golibot has that assumption, that it's not very likely. And then they can bring us evidence on why it should be. So that would bring that down. And then this 0 is a little too low. But before we get about how low that is, I think for these COVID-19 vaccines may cause infertility and change your DNA. Even though this is a negative, I think we need to phrase this to say it is a myth that, or something to the effect of saying there is no evidence. Actually, for this example, I would use exactly what's down here. There's currently no evidence to COVID, so I would just move this up into here and delete this one. Rather than having them drill in there, and we don't want it to read like it's true even though the score is false. This is what Gullibot thinks of it. So even though it's kind of a pro that it's a myth, it's just taking it to 0. So we still say that it's a myth, and we do it. It's really not a pro or a con at that point, but it's being expressed by people as a con, and we're kind of busting that myth. Based on the information we have, we're open to changes on that. So for both of these, I would here, was I fair about that? Let's see. COVID-19 vaccines may cause infertility. There's currently no evidence to go. And actually, pregnancy is a little bit different than fertility, because that assumes you actually got pregnant. So see if we can find anything about, I guess there's no way to really know about the fertility. If people became pregnant and just weren't pregnant during the thing, still, I guess that's still evidence against. But I would still want to move this up here, and we could find a better way to phrase it, because we do want to make sure that people have concerns about infertility can find it. So either we put myth, COVID-19s may cause infertility, and then, so one way to say is myth colon COVID-19, or it is a myth that COVID-19 vaccines cause infertility, even take out the may. And we could leave this down here. So one way or the other, Yeah, and so let's go ahead and make that change. At least put myth here or change this so that it's not like we're saying it's true. Even though the score is 0, we can't rely on people reading the score. They often just read the text. So we need to make it clear that what the analysis of it is in the text. So yeah, it is unlikely. So I think we need to do this percent to the same. I'm sorry, divide by 2 to cut the strength in half, just like we did do on the other one, just like we did on this one. But we still need to get the score above 0. So to see this, let's turn on the score descriptions. And I need to make these numbers a little bit more obvious about what's happening here because everything's 0 and that's not very helpful. So these are assumed strong pro, but it says 0, so I don't see that it's weighting the system. So on this one, mRNA vaccines are a new type of vaccine. We don't need the to protect against infectious diseases. That's confusing and distracting in my opinion. So let's just take that off. And actually the concern, I don't know if it would be worth stating the whole thing. mRNA vaccines are a new type of vaccine, and then say, so people are concerned about unknown negative side effects, right? To make it clear why this one is down here, but even just saying it's a new type of vaccine would probably be sufficient. So let's lop off stuff like that. Um, and let's not talk about vaccines were authorized based on safety and efficacy information. Just say there were animal studies, right? So let's keep it simple, to the point, and not change our verbiage based on the content of the claim of where the source material for the claims. Let's just state it exactly like someone would be if they were in an argument with a friend. Hey, the animal studies were done. Clinical trials were conducted. And so take off the to determine the vaccine efficacy. Because that confuses people. What's your main point here? Are you saying that clinical trials were done? Is that the main thing, or is this something I need to think about and keep in my brain? So I want to keep it as simple and short and sweet as possible. And then after those changes are made, we'll have to look and see why this is still 0, because we ignore the percentage because that doesn't affect the numbers. We have a con, the myths are ignored, a con. So we have 4 cons. And then on the pro side, we have percentage doesn't matter. We have pro, pro, pro. So they are all pros. They're equal, so they cancel each other out. Although some of these are very strongs, which means they have weighting added to them. Let's see. That's interesting that this very strong should be making this above 0. Let me delete this. And that did not really change the score. So I'm gonna have to look in to see why this is 0, because I think it should be greater than 0 based on the stuff we have in there. So I'll take a look at that while you go and adjust the claims as my suggestions, or come back with your own improvements or suggestions and let me know. And we'll just continue hacking at this till we think we have something that is easy to understand for everyone else. Thanks so much.